Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I am in a new location. I'm in Poland, traveling at the moment. So yes, I'm aware that there's an echo in this room. And yeah, I'm trying to grow this dash. So it's in that weird phase. So judge it if you may. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about some Takealot things. I've hit 35,000 orders on Takealot, and I feel like I've learned a few things along the way that I will be sharing today. And this is not going to be a highly produced video. I'm a little bit tired, I'll be honest, and a little bit maybe overworked. But yeah, I'm not going to go into like over editing. I'm just going to speak from the heart, and hopefully some of these things will be of value to you guys watching. So first things first. Well, I was actually thinking about this, and I was like trying to decide where to even start. But yeah, I have put together a list of it, and then I rewrote it, and then I rewrote it again. But anyway, okay, the first couple are a little bit more thought and like top level stuff. There's going to be ups and downs along the journey. That's number one. And uh, you don't know with Takealot, you don't know when that like spectacular product's just going to be, the buy box is going to be taken away. You don't know when you're going to get a suspension. You don't know when Takealot's going to create a new rule that you have to now stock both DCs. You don't know when your shipping charges are going to change. So it's like, it's been a roller coaster. And I must say, it's not like there's the ups and downs can do this. So you do have to be aware of that. And like that takes a bit of emotional resilience, and it takes a bit of planning, and it takes a bit of forethought into that. But yeah, don't get disheartened when there's a down. They will be there, and sometimes you'll think, okay, well, how am I going to recover from this? Generally, you do. So just be aware that they're going to come, and that's already going to be a big milestone for you guys. Second thing is the patience. I feel like this is like every business owner's kind of, this applies to just like doing anything in the business world. But yeah, patience. Uh, it takes a long time. You're not going to out of the gate list 10,000 products on Takealot and start getting orders. Each single product takes hours and hours to list and to add into your, like you're building this catalog and you're building supplier relations and you're getting better prices and you're getting better. So it's a slow progress, you know, putting one brick on top of the other to build your systems, build your infrastructure. And if you are anticipating to try do this overnight, there's a lot of people out there that say like Takealot's a get rich quick scheme. It really isn't. It's a good way to sell online, absolutely. But in terms of just like making money quickly, there's better ways. This is like, if you want to sell on Takealot, you're investing into stock, systems, discipline, strategies, you know, product lines, product development, and then like advertising on top of that. It's a whole big thing. So yeah, that's the second point. Third point is now getting a little bit more into like the actual things that you can do to help you guys grow. That is to look at the data. And if you're not looking at the data, you can very easily make mistakes. And I have done that myself. I've sold hundreds of units of products at a loss because I made a mistake with the costing and the calculations, and you don't think it's that much. And then you look at it again 6 months later and you're like, ooh, okay, so yeah, I've actually been paying people to buy this from me. So yeah, it's bound to happen, but just make sure to regularly review the data. And the data from the seller platform is actually getting better and better as all the time. So there's more metrics like on your export of transactions. You can actually see like the order value, the IBT, which is your transfer between the DCs, your success fee, your delivery fee, and like any other not storage, but any other fees related to that. So you can use that to extrapolate your profit to you, and then you can obviously deduct your cost of your item before that, and then obviously you have some, hopefully you have some pudding left after that. But use the data, check what's selling well, make sure that what's selling well is in stock based on your sales, don't overstock. There's like a load of things. Make sure your DCs are stocked appropriately so they don't get suspended and banned. it's tricky, but do make use of the data. I've done like a video or two on like how to automate that data extraction from Takealot. So you can just go like, put it into a spreadsheet, have it update every day automatically, check out those videos, and use them, because those are reports that I've built 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I still use them every single day. Like my business runs on them essentially. And yeah, it means I don't have to log into the seller portal every day. That's just not going to happen. You guys are busy. Business owners are busy. Don't make busy work part of your routine. Just get it automated, especially something like that where you're using the insights on a day to day. All right, too long. Moving on. Use the in stock. Everybody says it. It's very nervy to start sending stuff into Takealot. Especially as like right in the beginning days, because you're like you might have a secondary sales channel, you might have a storefront. Now it's like, okay, you got to take stuff from the storefront, you got to put it in a warehouse miles away from you, where it's now impossible to sell it to anyone else beside a Takealot customer, which is very upsetting because, well, you've got to pay for more inventory. So you're expanding your inventory, but your offering is limited to certain sales channels. Whereas if it's at your warehouse, you can get a lead time order from Takealot, you can get a walk-in customer, you can get a website order, you can get a pre-order, like all of that thing's available. Maybe not the pre-order, but all of that's available because it's there. Otherwise, if it's at Takealot, you can't just do like a removal order to bring one back and this and that. So, but the data is there. It does help with sales. Your sales will increase because people can like click and get that like instant gratification, and have it there. I'm guilty of it too. I probably won't buy something if it's like 7 or 8 days, unless it's like really unique. But if you're looking at two products side by side, hat one, hat two, you like both hats. This one's going to take 9 days. This one's going to be there tomorrow. I'm going to go with the one that's going to be there tomorrow. So that's just consumer insights. But yeah, use the in stock. Next on the list, Takealot's got that advertising platform in it. It was like released maybe a year ago. Not a lot of people use it still. It does help. It does work. You can see your return on ad spend. If you know your costs very well and you know your margins, you can get a return on ad spend that makes sense, and your conversion ratios that all make sense. But if you don't know your costing data, it's not going to make too much sense to you. And I don't want you just like throwing money at it, but basically, if you know your sales and you spend 10,000 Rand on getting the orders and you get revenue back, and you can know, okay, so now you've spent 10,000 and it'll tell you how much you've generated revenue wise on that 10,000. So let's say it's 100,000, you've got 90 left, you've obviously got fees, all of that stuff. So you can kind of go like, is that in my margin or not? Do the math. If it is, just scale it up. If it's not in the margin, don't scale it up, scale it down. Right. So the next thing is price it right. Make sure that your costing is good. I maybe touched on this a little bit earlier, but it is not impossible to miscalculate. It still happens even these days, because it's just, you've got to constantly check what category it's in, what percentage they're going to take, shipping changes, all of these different things change. But yeah, don't sell your products at a loss. There's lots of people doing it. Takealot doesn't care. They're not going to phone you and be like, hey, this looks a bit cheap. Are you factoring in 15% success fee, delivery fees, transfer fees? And so that's a big problem, especially I think when you first sign up, you're like, okay, you were selling it on your website for 1,000 Rand. Now you're selling it here for 1,000 Rand. It doesn't make sense. Like it's nearly impossible to sell it on Takealot for the same price as on your website. It just makes no sense. There's obviously extra fees unless you've got a really good margins. So that's something very important to be cognizant of. All right, so at this point, it's been a while. I've been selling on Takealot for 5 years now, and it's at that point where it is time to refresh your listings. Some of those products have been around for a long time, and don't let your listings become stale. It's something I do on all my e-commerce sites. There's like a process to go, it gets picked up. This product is a year old, doesn't need to be refreshed. Have a look at it. some of the data is not accurate. Some of the data was written by Andy 2 years ago, who's a different person today, who knows more about the product, who knows more about sales, communicating sales, communicating through a product description. And yeah, I'm going to probably make some tweaks and changes that are going to improve the sales on that product, and that's free. So these are the things, especially when when I was talking about the ups and downs, when you're on the down, this is probably one of the greatest things to do, is to like start looking at your listings, be like, is this listing still up to scratch? Because it costs you nothing to look at it and go like, yeah, this could be worded better, reword it better, fix spelling mistakes, make sure things are on that are there, like key selling features are all included, that the product's accurate, because if it's not accurate, you get returns. If you get returns, that costs you money. So all of these things have to happen eventually. Don't ignore it. It's a very tedious process, but yeah, like I was saying, there's ways to automate it, and there's ways to have checks in place. Try do something like that, schedule it. Maybe as you get a product created, you could also set a reminder in like a year to just go back and look at it again. And if you look at it and it's fine, then take it off the list. All right, so moving on from that. The last thing that I think has been critical, I lied. There's also two important things. You can't do it on your own for long. You have to have a rock solid team. There's a lot of moving parts in delivering that many orders. You're obviously putting every single order in a box. Everything's barcoded. Everything has to move to distribution centers. There's returns. It just gets to a point where you can't do it on your own. So you have to have people you trust. I'm so grateful for my team. They are rock solid, and yeah, it's pretty much essential. So yeah, I can't take the credit for it entirely, but yeah, so that's very, very important. Trust the people helping you, because if you try to make every decision about every single order on your own, you're going to get burnt out eventually. So yeah, and then the last thing is probably the biggest learning curve, is how to structure your systems. And I'm not going to delve too much into it. I'm going to do an entire video on this in the coming weeks, so make sure to subscribe for it. But obviously with all this data, and I've told you guys now, like, use the data to assess your sales and products, like there's tools available that make that data extremely clear and extremely relevant. And there's like a lot of extra things that you can get by with when you're starting off and you only have a few SKUs and you only have a few systems. But I feel like now I've wrapped in knowing what I know now and having the volume that I do now and knowing where I started. There's tool sets that I would have chosen better to accommodate the journey, and I still would recommend that to anyone else starting now. But I'm going to leave you hanging there for another video where I dive into that, because it's quite technical and it will take up all the time. So guys, appreciate you watching. If you're at the end of this video that I haven't highly edited, I'm probably not going to put music on it, but yeah, I just wanted to share the thoughts and make sure that I put something out there for you guys. And that's it for me. Till next time, ciao.